Welcome to episode number 35 of the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show.
Hello,
How are you,
Jim.
Cousin Donnie? What's
Good
going
to
on,
see you,
man? How
man.
you doing?
How are we feeling? How is everybody feeling?
I have no complaints. I mean, it's been a lovely Tuesday. I had my 4 or 5-year-old basketball game today, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And things went well for the most part. I mean, for a bunch of 4 and 5-year-olds, they play hard.
Yeah. Do you have these kids running suicides if they don't make layups?
Yeah, no, actually, if they don't listen, they sit the bench. So it's perfect. And they run. They're running suicides. We're running motion offense right now.
Yep. Right now, you're just in charge of the fundamentals, right? Teaching these kids how to dribble and pass.
I mean, just today I taught them the positions.
There you go.
One of the things that I think they need to learn, right? So
for sure. Yeah, that's very important. Yeah. Let me make sure I shared our stuff so everybody knows we're live. Thank you guys for watching and joining us on the Uncle Jimmy, Cousin Donnie show, sponsored by the Beacon Tap. Appreciate those guys over there. And we have a viral sensation in our show now.
Oh, come on now. Let's not get crazy.
Talk about it a little bit.
I think I got more text messages and messages about that stupid dance than it's insane. So I'm glad it was a good laugh for everybody. I probably will never lose another bet again, but that's okay.
We have another game scheduled, so we'll have to make we have another bet that we have to place.
Yes, we do have a game coming up on the 21st of February.
Yeah, next Wednesday.
So it'll be maybe we'll do it for a Cousin Donnie dance. Maybe
another dance or a second dance for you. But yeah, man, what you were texting me like you were getting calls from your realtor and your friends, and I posted on my Instagram story and people were liking it. Girls were liking it, guys were liking it. They're like, "Wow, this guy can move a little bit."
I wish that was the case, but definitely not. But either way, it was fun. It was hey, I lost a bet, and that's what we have to do. So
you're a man of your word.
I have no complaints.
You're a man of your word. How about that Super Bowl, my friend?
Well, I mean, I think we called it last week on the show. I mean, we said better coach, better quarterback, better defense, and
right.
I mean, it took them to overtime. They played like crap in the first half, and the game was kind of boring for 3 quarters.
For sure.
And then the fourth quarter, it kind of really took over, and Mahomes was Mahomes, and they got right back in the game. I think the last 4 drives, it was touchdown, field goal, touchdown.
Yep.
So, just what I pretty much expected.
It was pretty slow, like you said, pretty boring, right? Slow for the first 3 quarters or so, not a ton of offense, but both defenses played very well. I saw that Drake Greenlaw injury where he was running onto the field.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like, that's one of their best defensive players to go out on a non-contact injury, not even on the field.
Right. So, to me, that's just nuts. And then I'm sure Kelly, our friend Kelly from Kansas City, she probably was absolutely loving it, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's got to be just going absolutely crazy with it, which is cool. So
that's great. Well, we got a good show in store for you guys today. We have a fantastic guest, a softball guy that's been around a long time, part of arguably the best teams ever, right, Jim? I think we pretty much say one of the best players in the game history.
Definitely one of the best winners to ever play softball. I mean, he not only is a complete winner at pretty much everything he does, but also just the game of softball from a knowledge standpoint, the leadership standpoint, and obviously his playing ability was tremendous. So
Yep. Yep.
he's definitely going to be and definitely a top probably 5 in the game. I mean, I haven't seen some of the old timers, but I
Yeah.
was fortunate enough to play against Jeff, and he was always known for being the most incredible winner. And I was lucky enough to kind of know Jeff outside of softball. I'm going to share tonight a little picture that we have. I think you're kind of going to be shocked too, but something that was in the newspaper, I don't know, probably 30 years ago. So,
Man, you were like 28 30 years ago.
no, dude, wait till you see this stud that I'm going to show in this picture. It's going to be incredible. So.
Perfect. Yeah, but excited. I know when we first started the show at McGaffers, it was just the thing that we did, right?
Yeah.
Now it's a weekly staple for a lot of people. People are texting me, "Hey man, who's the next guest this week? Who do you guys got coming on this week?" And
right.
there hasn't been one week where we've disappointed. We've had professional athletes, ex-professional athletes, and now we're kind of bringing it back to the softball roots.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing about this week, it kind of leads us right into next week, right?
Yeah.
So, Jeff Berger obviously is a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
He's an incredible individual, and not only that, but it kind of leads us right into next week with the Hall of Fame ballots closing at the end of the month, and we're going to have a full roundtable with as many Hall of Fame people in the ballot from the men's side that we can get on for next week.
Yep, that's cool.
Which I think will be the first time we've ever done it on the show. I think it's going to be the first time I think ever had more than 2 guests on the screen at once. So I think it's going to be awesome. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I mean, obviously I'm tremendously excited about tonight, and I've known Berger a long time, and I know he's going to have some awesome stories to share. And I know we got a ton of questions for him. So that's the reason why we only booked 1 guest tonight, because we know that tonight's show is probably going to run longer than normal because we have a ton of things to ask Jeff. I mean, he played in the TV league. He played in multiple things in softball that were tremendous back in the early 90s and early 2000s, even the 80s. And I'm sure he's going to touch on a lot of that. So, that being said, I think before we bring him on, why don't we just really quick, I'm going to just throw a shout out to Francisco. Francisco is running a tournament this weekend in the Dome. And that's the GoPro Sports Dome out in Shorewood, Illinois, for those that don't know. It starts Saturday at 8 p.m., and we're going to run all the way through probably 2, 3, 4 in the morning. So we're going to play games. And, he's doing a very similar concept of how I've run the other 2 tournaments. He asked me to do it, and I was more than happy to be able to offer the show. So, Steve Burke, here's Burke's message out. What's up, fellas? Jimmy, that TikTok was horrible. See you on Saturday. Hope the bar is open. Yeah, Burke, it's not open yet, but we're getting close, my man. So I posted a video with Papa
That TikTok is horrible.
Yeah.
Man, he's one of very few people that dislike that TikTok.
Yeah, that's okay. You can't please everybody.
You can't make everybody happy.
It's America. You know what I mean?
Steve, thank you for the shout out, though. Do you want to give a shout out to anybody that just jumped on the show before we
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and read that through. So Jeremy Doherty, welcome to the show. Mr. Pops Alejandro. Sarah Napper, welcome. Joey, welcome. Mr. Steve Burke, obviously, welcome. Billy Ott, welcome. Paul, welcome. And Brian Fry just jumped on. So we also have about 40 people right now to start. And we're going to go ahead and bring on Jeff. And before I do that, for those in the audience that don't know Jeff Berger played on the dominant 45 teams. He has also won 12, I believe, 10 or 12 national titles. He's won 11 or 12 Forest Parks. I think he lost count as how many times he's won Forest Parks. So I am going to go to the break room and bring on our man, Mr. Jeff Berger. What's up, Jeff? How are you, buddy?
How you guys doing today?
Good, my man. Look at him all decked out.
Look at you, Jimmy. You want to put him in the middle?
Yeah, I'm going to put him in the middle and get that little...
And that's what I would do.
Yeah, there we go. So, Jeff's head's a lot bigger than yours, Donnie, so I figured put his ass in the middle. You know what I mean?
Get it, boy.
So what's up, Jeff? What's new? What's new in the retirement years?
Everything's really good. The sad part for me, my daughter's going to go away to college in the fall here, so that's going to be a tough one for me. But outside of that, just trying to get all that stuff ready and get her ready to go. And
Where's she headed?
South Florida. She's going to be in.
Wow.
Yeah, she's got a nice, nice thing for her. Nice
Yeah.
to. I figured out one thing in life. It's nice to be my kid. Jimmy,
It's not a bad. It's not a bad thing for sure.
Yours are spoiled too, Jimmy. So you can't make fun of me yet.
I know. You ain't lying. You ain't
Yeah.
lying with that. I think my kid's been to Disney more than my
More than Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. You
I
ain't
thought
lying.
you actually own some at Disney now, don't you?
I should have bought Disney before I had kids. I'll tell you that. I didn't. I think we've been to Disney probably almost 10 times already, and my kid's 8. So between Disney and Disneyland, you know what I mean? Disney World, Disneyland. So it's pretty incredible. But Jeff, I know, you've played and had a tremendous career in 16 in softball. The first question I wanted to get in is just kind of tell the audience a little bit about yourself, like what, where you started, where you played the game, how you got involved in the game. And then we can kind of jump in and add questions as you kind of tell the story to a lot of the audience that we do have. A lot of the audience we do have is current players of the game now and some of the past old timers or people that are, around my age. So for those that don't know you, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
So I was born, I actually lived in Chicago, right by Lawndale Park, where my father played softball, and moved to Berwyn in 1970. I know I'm dating myself right now. I don't smoke either because I will come over there. I'm not that old yet. But so my father played, and then believe it or not, my mother played. There was semi-pro leagues that my mom played. So as a kid, I was always playing baseball, but I was at every park when my parents playing, things like that. Then we were real lucky in Berwyn in the grade schools, we played softball against the other schools. So in 7th and 8th grade, they had like softball. So we had about 8 schools in our district, and you would go play. So, I was like most guys, when league ball finished up, when you got too old and you didn't go to college or you didn't get drafted, then we all played softball. And that's how I started. And my uncle and my father were very good, and they brought me up when I was a kid. So I started with them when I was 15 and 16 years old, and in Lawndale Park, in Clyde Park, Kelly Park, things like that. And then as I probably was in my early 20s, Lane Neiman, who ran the Rockers and the Kids and stuff like that, my brother knew him, and they asked me if I wanted to play the one day. So I started playing, and it kind of started there in my maybe 20-year-old stage, 19, 20 years old.
Actually, Lane Neiman is in the chat right now. He says, my man, as soon as you jumped on the show, you got to give a quick shout out to Lane with his teams that he ran.
That is my best friend in the world right there. That's he's my daughter's godfather. He's a great man. And for the guys who don't know him, I feel sorry for you, but he's really.
So, speaking to the Rockers, is that the same team that won the Forest Park tournament?
Unfortunately, yes, because they beat me. It was the only time I think I ever lost when I was in there, and I lost to them.
Really?
So yes, I started with Lane and those guys actually in my early 20s. I think the first national I played in was with the Rockers. I think in 1988, I went with Lane's team. We went to the A National in Indianapolis.
Wow,
interesting.
Yeah.
Jeff, what's your record then for Forest Park? What's your overall record as a player?
It's a good one, I'll tell you that. It's a good one. But I've been honestly blessed with the teams that I played for, the teammates I played with. You can be as good as you want to be, but if your team isn't good or they're not on board, you're not going to win. I don't care what you think you are. You won't win without your team. So I said one of the luckiest guys as far as that went.
Oh, yeah. No, you play with some tremendous players over your time. I know one of the things I wanted to ask you is just give me a list of 5 players over your time that was, you think, just out of this world tremendous, that just blew you away when you first met him.
Eddie Chibi, without a doubt, was phenomenal. Like for anybody, Eddie, when he got older, his knee was hurt a little bit. He became a first baseman. He was great then. But when I first played with him, he played center field. and he was I never seen nothing like him.
Right.
I mean, when I tell you great, guys, I would come to the game, and this is a true story, by the way. We played on Sunday mornings on a team called the Frogs. I would come to the park, and I'd get there, 15, 20 minutes before the game, probably still drunk most of the time, but,
Right.
ready to go, ready to go. And all I would remember was them guys say to me, hey, Jeff, how you doing? And I said, hey, yeah, I'm here, guys. Yeah, okay, where's Eddie, though? And I'm like, yeah, I'm here, though. And they're like, yeah, where's Eddie, they would say, so that's what I remember about him.
So they wouldn't care that you're there. It's all about Eddie.
Could care less, yeah. Or something, about some beer, maybe they liked me that day, but they just want to know where Eddie was at.
So we have a lot of people in the chat saying good old Berwyn. For many of those know, I'm also from Berwyn, and that's why Jeff and I hair looks incredible. Look at our hair.
Am I? I'm the third Berwyn guy in this chat.
Oh yeah, this is a Berwyn show. Look at this.
Yes, sir.
Must be the water.
We all got great hair. Just want to call that out.
For sure.
Donnie, go into your question. I know you're about to ask this question.
No, yeah, you talked about some of the teams, that you played for and some of the guys that you played for. And, you said your record's really good at Forest Park. And, what's the most memorable or your favorite championship that you can remember? And even more specifically, do you have a game that comes to your mind when you talk about some of your favorite memories as a championship team?
Yes. So the favorite game and championship are both the same. We played in Forest Park in 1995, and it was the last. A lot of guys won't remember this, but it was the last single elimination in Forest Park that year. And I was on a team called the Dollhouse. It was a strip club downtown that sponsored it. One of my better sponsors, by the way. This was during when the TV league was going on. So we would have, when some of the games were on, they would bring a limo down with some of the stripper girls. It was a lot of fun in those days. And
hey, those are the good days.
Don't give Jimmy any ideas.
If he was old enough, he would have been with me then.
That's true.
But in 1995, we got to the Final Four, and we played primetime in the Final Four, and we beat them in 14 innings. And the next game was Lettuce, who was waiting for us on deck, and nobody beat them, not just us, but nobody beat them. They were a very, very, very good team. And we got to the championship of that game, and we beat them 7-5 in 8 innings. And I was lucky enough to get the hit in the last inning to win the game. And just super memory, just crazy good game. So that one I'll probably remember most of my days.
Wow. That's pretty cool. I mean, specific enough that you kind of remember the game after too. I mean, that's fantastic, man.
Well, I remember looking at my teammates, and I remember guys laying down, and and I remember my own self. I was trying to figure out, I was exhausted. Somehow when you play Forest Park, other than any other tournament, you seem to give everything in your body to that. And right. I remember that 14-inning game just being exhausted and not knowing how I was going to play that next game or how I was going to. And I just remember them start announcing, 1995 Forest Park championship, and just all the adrenaline in my body just started going, and knew I wasn't going to let a moment like that get past me.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, you talk a lot about Forest Park, and that kind of leads to my next question. So, this was one of the teams that I think was 96-6. I'm going to pull this up on the screen, guys. So this is the 2005, as you guys can see. Let me get rid of that. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Oops, sorry, guys. That ain't going to work. I hit the wrong button. But anyways, you saw the picture. I deleted it.
The way you had it was good.
But I can pull it back up if you give me a second. Let me just do that really quick. Hold on.
While you're pulling that picture, let me bring up an amazing thing to you guys, too.
Yep.
The first year I went to the 45s was 2003. Bob Rasha had been all over me to come there. And, the last couple of years with the teams I was on wasn't working, and guys weren't putting forth the effort I thought they should have put forth. So Bob, I had always liked Bob, and he kept on me. Well, why don't you just come play on my team? And so I finally did. In the 2003 team that we had, pretty amazing stat. 10 of the 11 guys on that team are in the Hall of Fame now.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. And
Yeah.
if you look at this picture, this is the team that went 96-6. You guys won the national title. I think you said you won, if I remember correctly, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you won 11 of 12 tournaments.
Entered 11 tournaments. We won 10.
110.
Yeah.
So you look here. You got obviously Krabicki's one of the coaches, but tell me about Jim Madlock. I know he's going to be in my my top 10, my rapid fire later, but. Tell me a little thing about Jim Madlock. I know you and Jimmy were really close for many years on the team. He was almost like your right-hand man per se. So
He is my right-hand man.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about him, because I don't think many people in softball, at least today, know how he was. I was lucky enough to play against him in my younger days, but tell the softball world about him, because I thought he was an unbelievable player, almost like a glue to your team.
So you guys had asked me earlier about the players that, and I didn't get a chance to finish. Like when I said Chibi, and Jimmy was the same. Jimmy was absolutely awesome. I played with him. I first met him probably in the early 90s, and I played against him in 92, and we ended up beating them in the Nationals. Then they came back and beat us.
Right.
And we kind of, went at it pretty good. And, Jimmy was a cocky guy too, as I was, and then when I started playing with him, we got together on the same team. And then I just knew that, we clicked immediately. And he was after everything that I was. I wanted to win every game I ever played, and I didn't care where it was or who it was against. So, and Jimmy's that same intense individual. Now, a lot of guys remember Jimmy at the end, and Jimmy was really, really became a great hitter. He's one of them stories. Like when I was younger, he was so good in the outfield. Like when I tell you Chibi and Jimmy, those were fantastic outfielders. And then Jimmy just became like somewhere when he was around almost 40, he became this monster. He was always a good hitter, but he became a monster hitter. And it just never missed. Always was there, always on time, gave you his heart, and yeah, one of the best ever, without a doubt in my mind.
Yeah. Another guy that I wanted to bring up too. I mean, we've had Holstein, we've had Marty on the show, but Tony Porcasso. I think Tony, who's there it says the sitting down row all the way there on the left.
Yes.
Tony was kind of another guy on their team that I felt was very undervalued. He played a tremendous. I know when we played him, he played short center. I believe that's where he played for most of the time at the 45s. Tell us a little bit about him.
He was he was a great player, like great guy too, like really great guy. But we could put him at first, we could put him at third, I could put him at shortstop. He could play all them positions.
Right.
The 45s were blessed, and everybody when they talk about the 45s, they talk about the Ricky Gankars and the Holstein and Keith and Matlock and Israel, but at the bottom of our lineup was Danny Jalowek, Tony Portencaso, Tony Perchinsky, Brian Miller, Joe Dooley. I mean, all those guys were so good. And I think a lot of teams never even realized how good the bottom of our lineup was.
Right.
Yeah.
And they always say if the bottom hits, you win tournaments.
Well, and that's, those guys. I think there was one of the years, I can't remember which one it was, that the 45s, we only allowed 4 runs one time in Forest Park. And I really was another guy really prideful of defense. I thought defense won. Hitting, obviously, you have to hit, of course, but defense, I thought, won games more than anything.
Right. No, 100%. So how do you compare that 45 team to the one today? I mean, you know a lot of the guys on the team today, but
I do.
They're still pretty, they're still up there. But or how do you compare that team to the team you left last year playing?
They got some really amazing athletes on this team. They have Nate. They have Anthony Sanchez. They had both of the Smiths. Alex is gone now, but
yeah,
and now that team's tremendous athlete. So they may have been a little more athletic than our team was.
Right.
But I don't. We played with a different purpose. I think our group of guys did. You know,
Yeah, I mean, you guys, the one thing I think we're failing to say here is you guys never missed a game. And I
Yeah.
remember that. And that makes a difference. You know, we talk a lot about commitment on this show. We talk a lot about the major teams showing the commitment level and how that goes downhill to, it goes into the A teams and the B teams. I remember starting out and going to a Hotchkiss playing you guys on a Thursday night in the pro league, and you guys have a full squad. Like there's not one person missing, and that was every single game all year long. We don't see that anymore at the major ball level.
well, it was just an incredible group of guys. It really was, because
Yeah.
all the guys, Izzy, Jimmy, Holstein, Ricky, Larry. I mean, Larry was, oh my God, you talk about another guy. That's a guy that when I came to, I used to play against Larry, and I would say, that guy, he's not that good. He's not that good. And then, well, I'm you're laughing, but then I got on the team with him, and I said, this guy doesn't make a damn out. Like he just and he never takes a playoff. He never dogs it to first. Never. I mean, incredible. Like, he's a guy. Then we had a guy, Pat Harity. Like, I don't know if you guys remember Patty. And Patty was the kind of guy, like, like me and Ricky would always goof around, and we would bet each other, like when we're up a lot of runs, like let's go for the fence, let's try to hit home runs, and
Yeah.
act foolish, where Patty would take every single at bat as another opportunity to get a hit. So when we got young guys coming up, and he said, Jeff, well, what do you think? I said, you watch that guy right there.
Right.
That guy does. And you pattern yourself after him, because that's what that guy, every time he stepped in the box, was to get a hit.
Jeff, is there a team that plays right now that would give that 96-6 team a game at all?
Nope.
Not a single team.
I mean,
hold on a second. There was this binge team.
nope. Yeah, hey, you're going to talk about one game, aren't you? I knew that.
Hey, it's okay though. My 21-year-old friends, Donnie, we were one of the 6 that took them down.
That's right.
We did it on the biggest stage.
Blind squirrel gets in, not here and there.
That's right. Hey, and I'm blind. Trust me.
Yeah.
I remember that game, believe it or not. I remember my losses more than my wins.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was really weird, because we had come in and we were sky high coming into that tournament. You actually, I wish the binge team would have stayed together. It would have been a fun team to watch 3-4 years down the road from there.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Talented, very talented young group of guys.
Yeah, yeah. I wish we would have stayed together too, because we had an awesome core, for sure. So
I would have, like I said, I would have loved to play. I would have played anybody with our 45 team. But I really would have loved to play like the Whips back in the day, maybe against that, and see where we, because that was really one of the greatest teams I've seen.
right.
So I would have loved to have played them with that team.
Yeah.
The early lettuce teams were fantastic. Rich Malman, there's a guy I wish I would have. What a great man! What a nice man, and what a great man! And I almost, I wish, I shouldn't say almost. I do wish I would have got a chance to play for him at one time, just because that's how nice of a guy he is.
Well, Donnie, I know that's one of the questions.
Yeah, that's something I always ask the guests, like, who's somebody you didn't play with in your career that you wish you could have? Would it be Melman, just kind of being around him, or somebody maybe on the field a little bit?
Play on his team, yeah, and he just was really, really great man. But without a doubt, there would have been Randy Russ for me, and Willie Simpson. I would have loved to play with Willie. Tommy Duddleston, Bobby Lopez. I'd always, they're really hard-nosed players, which I love. And I loved guys that brought it every day. Randy Russ he brought it. He was, and I remember there was one silly game that, I don't know, he might remember, he might not. We played against each other. I was on Windy City that year, and he was on Flash, or I think they were Flash that year. We got, and we ended up, I think it was an 8-inning game, and I had 5 hits and 5 at bats. Randy had 5 hits and 5 at bats. The game was weird. I ended up pitching because they had knocked the pitchers out, and Keith ended up pitching for Flash. So it was like a really odd finish to the game. And I remember, like, I got a couple hits, and I just, they were kind of playing me in the right side, in the pole hole. So the first couple of times I just hit it right through the pole hole, and I got the first, and Bob Russ Jr. says, I just remember he said, well, you're just going to hit it there, ain't you? I said, yep. Till you put somebody there, I'm going to hit. And then after I got the fifth hit, I remember I rounded first, and I was looking at Randy Russ was catching that game, and he just like kind of looked over at me, and he just kind of like, kind of did like that, and I just kind of tipped like, yeah, I just loved. He was. We battled a lot of times, and I never got on the team with him. I wish I would have been fun.
Yeah, you know what? I played 3 years with Randy, with those Maxim Flash combos, or whatever we were called back then. And Randy was absolute stud. Taught me how to cut in an hour,
Yeah.
and added another element to my game at the time when I was a young kid, just swinging hard. So it really helped. And it's just a great person to learn from. The competitiveness, the leadership, just even though he didn't say a whole lot to you sometimes, you still knew by the actions that he did on the field of where and what he was thinking. So a lot of times he'd swear or whatever the case may be, but everyone, it's just the way Randy was. It was an awesome and a great person to hang out with after the game.
He was fun, right?
Oh yeah, which is one of the things that I think is kind of missed a little bit, right? That togetherness off the field too is a big component of winning on the field. So he was incredible for that, and I was fortunate enough to do that. So just wanted to share that with you. I know Donnie. Do you have another question?
Yeah. It's kind of related. It's almost related on the opposite end. Is there somebody you didn't like to come up against, or somebody that you kind of rivaled in your playing day that you can give a shout out to?
The rival part, not, because if I didn't like you, I mean, I came right for you. Didn't really have but Randy would probably be in that similar. I didn't like playing against him because, like I said, he was really good and he brought it all the time, But I'm the kind, when guys would look at the board, like the tournament draw would come up and they say, oh God, we got to play so-and-so in the first round, But that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Have better than a Friday night against the best team, right? Put on a show and put them in the loser bracket and go on and do
and move on for sure.
You got to beat them at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Rather play them early, knock them in the losers bracket, and
beat them when you're fresh, right? When everybody's
that's a great way to look at things. And I was telling Donnie before we hopped on the show how long I've known you, and I told him some of the crazy things that when I was a kid, obviously with you, and then my father and everything else and the whole family. So I was able, Jeff, to pull up a picture. Remember, I told you yesterday, and I think you're gonna laugh about this picture. So this is a picture of us in the newspaper, Jeff. I want to say this was in the early 90s, maybe 80s.
Yeah, that's probably, so you were probably, when I coached you, you were probably 6, 7, and 8. So you were one of them. So you're 42 now. So
yeah. So you're talking 35 years ago.
Yes. Yep.
So it's this. Do you remember that this was at the Cicero? This is the Clyde Park district. That's right. That's right on the news article. Wow. But this was something that I thought was funny. I pulled it out. I'm like, I had this picture. I'm gonna pull it out and show it to him because that's how far back, Donnie, we go with Berger and I. From being from Berwyn, and he was great friends with my father and so on. So lucky enough to have him coach me in basketball too. So Jeff ain't just an incredible softball player. He's also a good basketball player too.
Man, this guy, he's got it all.
But this kid, just so you know, this is how good this kid was, and he was cocky then too. So he's cocky now. But he was probably, I think I had 6th, 7th, and 8th graders with that. And he was probably one of the younger guys. He might have been 6 or 7 at the time. But he wanted to learn. And his dad would make him stay. And I would stay after a little bit and work with him and stuff like that. And he was a real eager kid. So I took a liking to him right away.
Jimmy,
we had a lot of fun together, that's for sure. Yeah. He took me on my first motorcycle ride too, Donnie. I'll never forget. my first and last. Never been on another one since.
We've got some great comments coming in from individuals. Lane says, "Great shirt Jeff has on in the photo. I believe it's an old Rocker shirt." Scotty Herdecki, Jeff was all about commitment, or Berger was all about commitment. That was one of the things when it came to playing on his team.
Another super good player right there, boy. I met that about 19. Let me tell you about athletes. He was absolute cannon arm, could run like the wind, pounded the ball. Like, he was a little shorter guy, and he pounded it. He was really something. He's a great guy. Yeah, he's still yes.
Still pounds. He still has a rocket arm too.
Yeah, he plays on Team Jagoff. I know Jeff Berger was a team member of Team Jagoff too, Donnie, just so you know.
Even not being on the team, I'm on the team.
Yeah. Exactly.
Everybody's been on the
team. He
team.
actually played on the team in Melrose. And he was a part of when Gio made 3 outs in 1 inning, and Berger was the one that was saying that should be $100.
Gotta be, right? That's $100.
He was there for that of all times.
Gotta be.
Another quick shot. We got David Burns watching from Texas. We got Sharif Walker's in the chat. He says, Jeff, my daughter still talks about playing with your daughter on the playground at tournaments. So, friendship that goes way back.
All the time, yeah.
That's great. Big Mick Ballestri's in the chat. Bobby Ronald says he loves the Bush Leaguers pullover.
That's it. Bobby Ronald, he knows what that is, Bobby.
Yeah. And this is you're getting some really good comments in the chat. Marty Dosen says 13 Hall of Famers on the 2005 team.
Well, see, look at that. See, Marty knows that stuff. So,
I think him and Holstein just got in last year, which probably made 12 and 13.
Yeah, that's I'll tell you what, those two guys, that's fantastic. Both guys, great teammates. Marty, I started a team. There's another one. I started a team in 1998. He was the first guy that went after. My first guy was Marty Doe. And thank God he come along and played. And I ran that Pugliese team 2 years, and then Bucks the year after that. We had 2 firsts and a second at Forest Park, and a first, second, and third in the Nationals in those 3 seasons. And pretty amazing. That was an amazing team. I wish we could have kept that one around a little. That was a lot of fun too.
Yeah. So one chat I just saw come through, and I'm gonna laugh. Because I know you're a big card player.
Yeah.
And you like to play your cards. You're just like the rest of us. And Mr. Dave Bradle says, a Berger versus Hennessy 1-on-1 hold'em matchup. Who do you got?
Hennessy is tough. I don't know. That would be a tough one. He plays cards that nobody, and Dave will know what I'm talking about here. Richie plays cards nobody else in the world would play. So
yeah,
if you see like a 2, 4, and a 9 come up, he probably got you. And Dave's laughing right now that I'm saying that. So
that's hysterical.
Another great comment from Ed Cheevy says, Jeff, get your ass down to Florida. He misses his drinking partner. We love that.
I'll be there in April. You better have some beer, Cheevy. You better.
Yeah, Cheevy, look at that. And then Sharik also said that his daughter played softball with your daughter. One of the best moments. Did you see that, Donnie?
No,
no. They used to play together all the time.
Yeah, on the playground.
Yeah, which is awesome. So we got a lot of cool comments coming in. Jeff, I want to get onto the next part a little bit, and that is, we call it our rapid fire.
Shoot.
So what this is basically, I'm going to give you 10 names, and you're just going to tell me what first thing comes to your head. If it's bad, good, or indifferent, I don't care. I want you to say it. All right, that's the whole point of this.
Fortunately, with me, you will get that. So.
I know. That's exactly why I want to say it. So.
Good thing it'd really be fun.
Yeah, so a lot of these guys are either some guys that you've played with or guys that are just kind of part of softball. A lot of the guys we've already talked about, so I'm actually done a pretty good job with this list. Number 10, Mickey Balestri Sr.
Great guy, great pitcher, good friend.
Okay. Number 9, Jimmy Madlock.
The best. I wish I could do it again with him.
Number 8, Izzy Sanchez.
Awesome.
You could speak a little bit about him.
So here, like when I used to say, like with the 45s, this is the biggest thing. Like, say the game would come, and I would never have to worry. Like, is Jimmy ready? Is Mark ready? Is Ricky ready? Is Izzy ready? Those guys are gamers. They were there. Izzy, and I mean, I seen this guy like tape stuff up like that was broken, and he would, like, his leg was broken. Oh, it's all right, and he'd just wrap it up with something, and he would still go out there and, I mean, give it his all. It was he was a gamer.
Number 7, you've talked about him, the gentleman that started a TV league, who's been very successful. Obviously, we all know Rich Melman.
Super great gentleman, ambassador. Everybody who is watching themselves on TV and all that stuff should thank that man.
You know, Jeff, I'm going to stop there for a second. I've actually had conversations with Melman to bring him on. I would love to know the knowledge, number 1. Number 2, I'd love to know just some of the things he went through to get that TV league. As you and I talked offline yesterday, you know, one of the things that I notice now with ESPN, they're putting a lot of random, even ESPNU or you know, there's 3 or 4 different ESPN channels. They're putting random stuff on wiffle ball and just nonsense type stuff that I think, I mean, if I'm at home and I see a 16-inch softball game and I've never seen it before, I think it'd probably be pretty interesting to watch. Just my opinion, obviously, because they play the game. But, you know, what do you think it would take ever to get something like that back on? And I know Rich did a lot, right, behind the scenes to make that happen.
He did. Oh, yeah. He was the guy who got Old Style. He got a lot of the different sponsors, and those were what made it, you know, just the sports channel. And back in the day, that was, what was the radio station that, the Score?
Score.
They had Mike North, they had Old Style, they had stuff like that. So, you know, it was a pretty big deal in them days. And I don't know if you guys remember, I think the Grant Park tournaments were like, you know, Rich put on a show, and Grant Park was amazing. And then it was all televised and stuff like that. He had celebrity games. He had everything. There was hundreds of teams playing. We lost touch. We should have kept that going somehow.
Yeah, I was fortunate to play in a couple of those. It was incredible. And I know it was towards the tail end of it, but still, it was still an incredible sight. All those teams at Grant Park. I know it's been talked about. There's rumors kind of going around that they might say do something again, but who knows?
With the city,
I don't know
with the city being the way the city is now, I don't think you'll ever see that again.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, all right, number 6. The man we just talked about, Richie Hennessy.
Crazy. That's crazy. And I'm going to tell you a good story. So in 1989, I went and played on the teams. You guys don't remember this either. There was Irving's Red Hots was a hot dog store. You guys
Really?
do you remember Irving?
No.
Look it up.
I never heard of it.
Look it up on your iPhones, boys. But Irving's Red Hots was a hot dog store, like, you know, like a fast food place you can go to. And we played on a team, GB, Hennessy, Odell Humphrey. I'm trying to remember all them guys. She's Red. Here, this is Brian Davis. His father, Red, was my baseman on there, my catcher.
Okay.
And that was a super good team. And I played on there with Hennessy. We won the Suburban Life tournament with them. We won a lot of stuff with those guys. That was actually, we won Kelly Park with those guys. So, yeah, Richie was on the team. Richie was a very good player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good player. Good hitter, too.
All right. So, we have a gentleman who hopped in the chat who kind of watches our show, Jeff, on a weekly basis. And I'm going to make him 5.5 just to throw him a bone.
Okay.
He is somebody who says that you're one of the best umps in SSA. So he's a smart man. His name is Russ DeLute. He wants to know who's your favorite short center. So Russ DeLute.
Russ is a good guy. So well, favorite short center. Am I supposed to say him?
Yeah, so Jeff needs to mention the best short center not yet in the Hall of Fame. So that was another thing that Brian Fry mentioned. So
yeah, another good man right there. But yeah, Russ is a good guy. I like him too.
For sure. Yeah, Russ has actually been on our show. We're not sure if he remembers being on our show or not, but he was on the show. Yeah.
It says Mike O'Reilly says Irving's beat unknowns in the USSSA championship.
You did? Yeah, that's a good. That was the unknowns were a nice team too. We played against. That's a long time ago. Wow.
Bro.
Yeah, that's in the 89 or 90, right in that area.
Donnie, you weren't even born, dude.
Not even close, man. I was still years down the road from that.
You were like you weren't even thought of it yet. You're like,
you
were still swimming. So let me get back to the list. Number 5, number 5, JD John Doss.
Uh, no, this guy right here, you guys should have known him when he was young. This was a crazy individual. Wait, listen. I think I seen JD one punch about 3 different guys. Yeah, he put
On one swing.
He put more guys to sleep than Night Owl.
Good old JD, and he's still a part of the game.
Yeah,
you know, he obviously with Forest Park and everything that he does out there, and just in general, he's still giving back, coaching the circus team now. So
yeah, he loves softball. So he's a great guy, and all his kids, they do a great job with the Park District. He's done a great job with the Park District. That guy's he's a good man.
Absolutely. So number 4, Mark Holstein. What do you say?
Monster, absolute monster.
So where did you find Mark? Because I think Mark started.
So it was funny. I didn't find Mark. Sal Malazzo and those guys found Mark. So I went and played in 2001, and Sal was telling me he had this kid, Mark Holstein, and I said, okay. And he said, oh, this guy's going to be the next this, the next that. He's unbelievable. And then the next year I went and played on the bats with Sal Malazzo's team, and Mark was on there. And that's when I first met him. And yeah, he was 100% right. This kid was a monster. But back then he could really run too. Like I could put him in the outfield. Yeah, he was. But I'd spent all the years on the 45s batting behind him. And if you want to talk about having an easy job, that's an easy job, batting behind. So,
you came up with nobody on base a lot.
Or second, third, or man on third. And
yeah,
many times. And then the start of that, like, was Ricky Gankars would lead off, and then Larry or Izzy would bat second, and then Mark. And it, like you said, I'm batting. It's 2-0 minimum at that time.
All the time.
Everybody's like, Jeff, you're always getting these big hits. I'm like, getting big hits. There's the guys out all over the bases. It's easy.
It's easy. It's not easy for Donnie, but Donnie's been hitting.
He's
hitting better, Donnie.
He's working out.
You know what I said? I was going to say, Sal said that about me, that I was the next best thing. He was right about Holstein. So he's going to be 2 for 2.
Actually, he's 50-50 right now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Hey, well, you know what, Jeff? His announcing skills are incredible.
He's a good-looking kid too. So
thank you.
Give him that. His announcing skills are incredible. So, you mentioned the bats, though. Before I get to number 3, our top 3, I always stop there. Why I mentioned this, Donnie? Why don't you look in the comments and see if anyone else had mentioned anything? You played in the bats, and there was a dude. I think the name was Juice. Used to hit it on the Ogden all the time, because that's when I was young.
Well, Juice was actually on B Athletes, and I seen him, and he was
Didn't you play? I thought you played out with your team.
My Bucks team. He came on the bats with me. Yes, in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, he used to hit some monsoon shots on the Ogden.
And what a good outfielder too. He was so fast. What a good player. Great guy. Let me tell you something. That is a great guy. I love him, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still a good friend of mine.
That's what Randy Nelson was referring to when he talks about Juice, right, Rich or Jimmy?
I didn't see his comment, but I'm sure that's what he was talking about.
Yeah. We got a good.
Go ahead, Donnie, with the comments. I know
from Ronald Kubicki says, Jimmy, say hi to Buddy Berger. I have said for years that if I was to start a team, he would be my first player I would pick. And then we got Mark Wilson says Hollywood Casino National Championship team.
Yeah, he was Marky's awesome. He's a great guy. And you talk about a guy that pounded the ball. Did he ever pound it? And I bet it behind him too, or right in front of him. I mean, he was another. I've been in some pretty lucky places, I'll tell you that. Yeah. So, my buddy, I said hello. He ran a lot of teams. He really makes life easier when he's running your stuff.
So another guy too, Danny Greif. He actually has been coming out and umpiring our games. So he's about 10 minutes from the dome. Yeah. And he actually made a comment, and he says, "Tell Jeff I miss going to the Cubs game with him." Yeah, we went to the Cubs. He went with my daughter, him and his wife, and I. We went to the Cubs. Danny's a really nice guy, and he loves softball too. So he's a good. I hope he does more umping. He's a good guy.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
like Danny. It's nice of him to come out and do those games.
Yeah.
John Doss says easy on the head jokes, Jeff.
You know, here's the only thing. Like the one day I was standing next to John at Forest Park, and I actually said, "John, move your head. I can't see the water." Park out
Oh, JD. Oh man, he's hysterical.
his head, I wouldn't know what to do.
Right. So I don't know. So I gotta get to the top three.
Do it.
And I know everyone on the show, all the watchers are waiting for me to say it, right? Because he's always in our top 10.
Yes.
It's kind of, we have to put him in the top 10. Not, all right. So number 3, our boy Gio.
Yeah, Gio. 2. 2.
He said who's 2?
Oh man. But
In Gio's defense, Gio does a lot of things good for the ball. So I'm just kidding, Georgie. He does a lot of good things for softball, and I haven't been around anybody that puts as much time into it. He really does put a lot of time into it.
Right, 100%. So number 2, Ricky Gankars.
The best. That's the best hitter I think I've ever seen. Right,
Really?
Donnie Keller, Ricky. Yeah, Ricky, great. I mean, great. Donnie Keller, just great. I mean, great.
I always said that he's the fastest fat guy I ever met.
Yeah, Ricky wasn't always have that big belly. He just likes beer a lot. And,
Well, yeah, I know, but it doesn't mean he's. I probably should have said it that way, but
there's guys that like beer. He really likes beer.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and he owns that bar now, which you know what, we have to get him on the show to promote his business because I believe he opened a bar about a handful of years ago now, and
Yeah.
it's been taking off pretty good. So
we had a get together out at his a lot of the 45 guys, older guys, younger guys too. Had a great time. Some of the Splinter guys, because I did play on Splinters with those guys also.
Right. So Jeff, who do you think number 1 is on my list?
I don't know, because I don't know which direction you're taking.
He ran the dynasties for many of years and probably funded a majority of the dynasties.
Mr. Rasha?
Mr. Rasha, number 1.
I love him. I love him. I still talk to him at least every week. We do get together for dinners and stuff like that. I was out in Arizona in December, and he had me out at his house. He's got a beautiful house in Scottsdale, so he had me out at his house with his family. For the guys who don't know him, he comes off sometimes a little smug, I would say, and but there's nothing he wouldn't help any of his friends with, any of his players with. He's really a good man.
Yeah.
So, big fan.
No, I would agree. I've got to meet him obviously through you and then just through softball over the years.
And I played with great guys who ran teams. He was without a doubt the best one. So,
that's my praise right there. There's a lot of good guys that run teams. That's my praise.
I got to before we end, I got to mention some guys, if you could, with that ran teams, because Lane was excellent. I mean, he loves softball. Lane does. And when he beat me in Forest Park, it was one of them times, probably the only time in my life that I kind of walked off and I said, okay, I lost today, but I'm happy that he won.
Right.
Every other lost, I was looking for someone to punch.
Yeah.
But, so playing for him, Jimmy Kelly, I don't know, could you guys see the Bud Runners back here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were just going to get into that, the shirts.
Yeah.
So Donnie, go right ahead.
Jimmy, you remember Jimmy Kelly?
I remember the name. I can't put a face to his name.
Super big Irish guy, really just another guy, loves softball, super nice man. Done a lot of things with him, and he passed away a couple of years ago. We lost him. He had a heart attack. I miss him to this day still. Jimmy was a good man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stan Paddock, the other guy that helped me.
Yeah, Stan, I know you were I
miss him every day. I mean, I can't tell you when I tell you what a nice person that he is or was. I mean, and everybody, you could go on your chat and ask guys about Stan Paddock, and I will tell you, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that said something bad about him.
Right. So Jeff, why we got you? Russ actually just put a good comment in about your fencing business. Why don't
Yes.
you talk a little bit about what you do currently in your personal life, just for promotion of the business? And I know, hey, summer's coming, so people are going to be building fences. So
Yeah, if you need a fence, we got it. We build them all, from any kind of vinyl to wood to chain link to aluminum to steel. We could build them, and we're very good at it. Um, Last but not least, I still work in Stan's office to this day. I do help with income tax returns and stuff like that. I've been working with him since 2011. Even though we lost him, we still kept the business going, and does very well. We got a great group of people in there. So Tom Lentine Jr. is in my office with me, another really good kid, and we've
yeah,
managed to fight through all that stuff, losing our leader. That was tough, but still do that, and it's very good. It's a good company. They really do a nice job with tax and accounting and stuff like that. So if anybody has an accounting issue, they're the people to see.
awesome. Oh, that's incredible. So why don't we get into those jerseys behind you?
Yes. So can you see the one over my left shoulder? That's the Dollhouse.
Okay.
That Forest Park. I won 1995. Awesome. It was, like I said, probably the most memorable game I ever had that sticks in my head. And
Sure.
had some great teammates on there. Carl Maniscalco was on there. Stan Backus was on there. Matlock, myself. Sal Basta was another guy that helps with the Hall of Fame. He was the guy that ran that team. Dan Coco, Sal Basta. Great bunch of guys. That was really one of my favorite teams. That was, you talk about a team that wasn't supposed to win and won, And then right behind me, that's my favorite 45 jersey there. Got a lot of.
Yeah.
Bobby liked to buy a lot of shirts. Like he liked his gear, And then we go by Bobby's house in Israel and steal it all. So
Izzy.
that, and on the other side is my Bud Runners jersey. That was 1992. We put that team together. That was if I tell you the names on this team. So the first year we put it together, that Jim Kelly ran it, and we had Les Filkins, Randy Filkins, Rich Ladwig, Bobby McClellan, Ed Cheeby, Jeff Berger, Mark Wilson. Who else? Did I say Randy Filkins? Jimmy
Yeah.
That team was dynamite. Dave Bischoff was our pitcher. I mean, you talk about some super players. So one year, it's probably one of the first years I played major ball. We went to the championship of the winners bracket against Lettuce that year, and Lettuce was loaded. Had probably one of the better teams I've ever seen. Keith was on. John Keller was on there.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a hell of a run and great team. A lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with that year. I used to have Mark Wilson out dancing at Kokomo's. You could ask him about that one.
Hey, dancing's been a part of our show the last couple of weeks, Jeff.
That's what I heard. I wish I'm gonna have to watch back and see it now. I'm gonna have to check.
Well, if you get on social media, I'm sure you'll see it. Just go on our page. Donnie's been sharing it with the world, so
That boy,
just
Donnie.
rubbing it in.
That boy.
Listen, we got to make sure we embarrass Jimmy as much as he can, right? Because
He
Jimmy's
does.
got this ego. We got to knock it down.
He does that without you and me. He embarrasses himself without me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at it, Donnie. All right.
You're doing all right, Jim. I just had one more question for you, Jeff. We talked about the amazing teams you played for and all the guys that still remember how well you played. What kind of advice do you have for a younger individual getting into kind of the major game or playing his way through being A-ball? What's a couple of things you would tell that person to really kind of improve him as a player?
I would say play as many games. Like when I was a kid, like Jimmy would do it. He would know this and he would do it too. I'd play 6:30, one park. I'd get in my car 7:45, 9:15, another park, just play. And then back then they had a lot more city tournaments and you could play in many places. It seems like they don't have as many places to play now as they used to when we were young.
Yeah.
So I playing, keep practicing, keep playing, get yourself in shape. I mean, that was what I would my greatest advice.
Right.
Be that. Keep playing.
Yeah. The more games you play, the better you get. It's the only way you get better.
Confidence will take you everywhere.
I agree. I tell everyone that confidence matters, man. If you go up to that plate knowing you're going to get a hit, more than likely you're going to get a hit. If you go up there knowing you're just worried about making it out, then 9 out of 10 times you're going to make it out. So
You play,
I tell every single person that. That's a great piece of advice.
if you play scared, you'll lose scared.
Yeah, 100%. So,
Let it rip.
yep, I agree. Let it rip. You got nothing to lose.
There's another good comment. Bobby Ronald says, got to get Jeff out of retirement for Papa Hop's tournament this year.
I'm in, Bobby.
So
There you go.
we play on. So Bobby, we started the team last year, Jeff.
Yeah.
So I play up with Bobby, Billy Smith. We have a nice little squad. So we're just building it.
I just want to come and drink with those guys.
Oh, absolutely. And you better bring your money too, because they like to fire on the machines, as you can imagine. So
A lot of bar.
Jeff, I've got a lot more to talk with you about. I hope you're not getting tired on me.
I am not.
One of the things I want to get into, and it's been brought up in the chat. I'm not sure by who. I don't remember. It was a while ago because we're getting a ton of comments coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate everyone for the support. Obviously, guys, our show's sponsored by the Beacon Tab, Mr. Tommy Reamer. Thank you so much. I'll go grab a burger or play some volleyball in the summer on their beautiful outside patio. So,
What a great bar.
great bar, great location. Everything about it's
Sponsored the 45s back in the day too.
Oh yeah, no,
Yep.
he does an incredible job, not only marketing but promoting and he does a great job in that place too. So more power to him for sure. So Jeff, what I wanted to ask you and get in the topic is umpiring, and the reason why I want to bring this up because you and I chatted, and I think you have some good points on what you talked about, and I want kind of everyone to hear what you have to say. So. I know that you've umped some games for Patty at the A level. I've heard you did a tremendous job. Most ex-players are usually pretty good umpires, and I heard you did an unreal job when you were doing it. So tell us about, because I mentioned to you yesterday that it's something that we have to develop over time. And I thought you had a good idea about what you said about the training and some of the things. So I'm just going to hand it over to you. Tell me what you think about, the umpiring and what kind of needs to change amongst the players and umpires.
Back in the day, we had a lot of umpires that were pretty decent umpires. We had the Joe Manza, who's still around umping, Oscar, who's still around umping. We had John Mitchell, but my biggest thing is that the umpires back in the day commanded more respect. Now it seems like these players have a lot of, or I shouldn't say a lot of, have no respect for the umpires. And it's kind of sad to see. And now you talk about guys who would come out. I would come out and ump games. It's not about money. I actually like doing it.
Right.
But for $40 to have people, talking crap to you and mistreating you, no thanks. That's why guys don't do it. That's why you don't get good umpires.
Right.
And guys in the last few years, I've noticed when there was a bad call, 15 guys come running out to the field.
Mm-hmm.
You should throw the whole team out. Right? One
Yeah.
guy supposed to talk with the ump, one person, that's it. I want to talk to one guy, and that's it. If you have a question, hey, we'll be happy to talk to you, what we seen, what we did. Most of those umps, they really care. They were softball guys. They love softball.
Right.
So it just has to be, I think, a little bit more respect on the players need to give to those guys. So something.
Yeah, you also mentioned, I'm just pulling it up now because I got to take notes because there's just so much to talk about. But one of the things you mentioned too is about the training kind of as they continue to raise their prices, for umpiring.
Yeah.
About setting some training, just things up, and talk a little bit about what you mentioned to me yesterday.
Well, back in the day, I think they used to have umpire I think Brian Panic did it, and I think they would have where you go to 4 different kind of camps for that, and then you'd have to get certified from them guys from that in order to do those games.
Right.
And I think it's important, it's like get a guy like Joe Manza on the side, have Joe run a couple camps and start teaching some of these guys. Joe knows a lot of the rules about these games, and we need more guys that know the rules. We need more guys that care. Joe cares, and again, it's everybody's going to miss a call, blow a call. It happens. It's not, and I guarantee none of those guys are trying to blow a call. Every single one of them guys is trying.
That I would agree with you with, and
Mhm.
I think one of the main things is to your point, the lack of respect not only for the players but also for the umpires, and that only escalates as things go on the field. And when they don't know the rules and there's issues, that's
Yeah.
to your point. That's why we need those training, and that's why we need to put those guys through just understanding the rules. I think that would be a main thing, and I think it would solve the majority of the problems. And then, the hustling and some of the other things that maybe some of these guys don't do to put themselves in the right position causes it. So
Yeah. I just, like I said, I've actually been thinking about that, and I'm thinking I might talk to some of them guys about perhaps on more games. But I'd like to, like, Forest Park games and stuff like that where it makes a difference. But I'd never want to be like if I ever had a 45 game, or I haven't played for the 45s in 7 years. So
right,
I never would call a game to help somebody or not help somebody. Anybody who knows me knows that about me. And, you, so I wouldn't mind, like you said. And the reason I started umping, believe it or not, is when the SSA started doing the A tournament there.
yeah, yep,
The ASA guys started threatening the umpires if you ump those games and stuff like that, that you'll never come back here and stuff. So I said, hey, I'll ump the games for you.
yep,
Worry about them guys. We'll ump the games. And then guys like Bob Russ Jr., myself, Hennessy, we started getting a bunch of ex-ball players who, actually called the games pretty good, I thought.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. Makes a difference, and they have the respect level of the players because they've done it.
Well, I would hope, like I said, I try to talk to every one of those guys respectfully. And before the games, I'd like to tell the coaches on both sides, hey, I promise you I'll do my best job here. If we miss something, I'll be, if I'm not sure what I seen, I'll be the first guy to ask the other umpire with me, say, hey, did you see something different? You know,
Right.
and if he did, I remember there was a play in the A National. Rich Hennessy was umping the base. Richie was on the guy out at first base. Uh, and I guess the ball bobbled, but it was on the backside. So the guys were yelling. So I said, hey, Rich, he said, yeah, definitely bobbled. So I called the guy safe. And even the guy who lost the call came over and said, hey, I appreciate you making the right.
Right.
Yeah.
So Rod Kubicki said, Jeff, you started umping for me in the Helping Hand Snowball
Oh,
tournament.
yeah. That, and not to mention grade school. I did the grade schools Ron doing too. I forgot about those too. Yeah. The Helping Hand was awesome. What a great cause that was. They had the snowball tournaments and stuff like that. Great. I mean, Ronnie did so many great things for the community. It's unbelievable. That was one of the greatest. Though we had the snowball softball tournaments every year. It was so much fun. Except if I was with Brian Fry and the deputies, then I was drunk.
We had a good comment from Sharif Walker who says he loves doing the A tournaments, and
Yeah,
he was actually an umpire for one of our games last year with Iron, and he did a great job. Like,
he does do a good job, and another one that tries really hard.
yes, yeah,
Yeah,
he definitely gets out there, puts the effort in, and as a pitcher, pitching with Sharif behind the plate, there's a level of respect there, right? I mean, you see he's making generous calls for the pitcher, is kind of knowing what the pitcher wants to do and making people swing the bat. I think that's super important.
well,
And the gentleman who'll be on our show next week.
Yeah.
And Jeff, just so you know, we're doing a roundabout table with all the people who are on the Hall of Fame ballot. And so he's going to be on the show, and we're going to have a little debate show next week about maybe possibly why some of these guys feel they should be in the Hall of Fame, or just talk about their career in general. So I think it'll be a pretty cool show to sneak in. But go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry. You were going to say something.
no, there was like I just was talking more about Sharif and stuff like that, and I don't like, I'm not trying to put guys on base the game of hitting. Okay, if you're looking for a walk, go to a parade. I don't really get it. So, right? I remember one of my funniest umping stories. There was this big lefty guy, and I was umping the A National, bases loaded and 1 out. And he's like the 4 hitter. He's a big kid too. So the first pitch is a ball, second pitch is a ball, third pitch is a ball. Next pitch comes, right about eye height, I guess, and landed right there. And he starts getting mad. It's 3-1 now, bases loaded. And so he's like, And then he gets in the box the next pitch and he fouls it down the right field line. So he's 3-2. And then the next pitch he fouls down the right field line. Turns to me and said, "You suck." And I said, "Well, you just fouled out with bases loaded, Joe." Maybe I.
You probably shouldn't have said that, but hey,
But what I'm saying is that wouldn't that guy want to walk with the bases loaded and 1 out? What the hell are we here for?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Hey, honey, what'd you do today? Oh, you ain't gonna believe this. I had the bases loaded and I walked. Now you wonder why she's doing the other guy on your team.
Oh God! So really quick, I got a couple more questions, and we'll let you go, Jeff. But I just want to say hi. We had Wes join. So Wes was our guest last week on the show. Welcome, Nate. Welcome, Adam Olson. Welcome, Kevin Duff, Paul Rowan, the head of the Hall of Fame, currently president of the Hall of Fame. Welcome, Tim Glover's on the show. Poppy Rodriguez is on the show, and then Jason, little fat Jason, as we call him. One of the funniest guys in softball that I love the most, but I love him secretly. I don't tell him that. Well, now I guess I just did, but but yeah, he's a good dude. He's a really good dude. So that being said, Anthony Stacy just joined too, because then I'll get mad if we don't mention Anthony.
And
so, hello, Anthony. How are you?
And Burrito always gets on my case when I see him that we never give him a shout out for watching. He watches every week.
Oh,
it's like a star-studded.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Kevin Duff. Woo.
Yeah, our boy Kevin. He also has done an interview, and he on some of the shows from the Kornikowski boys has been. What was the verbiage they used for him?
This is not my word. Obviously, not my words. He said Chippy said Kevin Duff is boring.
Chippy, fucking Chippy's nuts. He cracks me up. So Jeff, that kind of leads me into. I'm sorry, huh?
What is Chippy? Exciting?
He was thrilling. He was thrilling on our show. He was great.
Yeah. Chippy, he's one of a kind. So, So what I want to talk to you about, the next topic is single elimination tournaments.
Yes.
Because I think you said it awesome yesterday, and so back in the day, you played a ton of single elimination tournaments, and tell us the kind of the thought process of what you were saying about single elimination.
Well, so if all the perfect example, if all the tournaments I played were single elimination, I would have won less Forest Parks and less Nationals because I had won from the loser bracket, a fair amount of times. But the first Forest Park I did win was the last single elimination, which was 1995. And I just think your mindset has got like so much. Hey, I can't, every inning, every pitch, every at bat's got to be my best, right? There's no hiccups here or nothing like that. I think it's a great way to do it. And now that we have, some older guys, Israel Sanchez is 60 years old, amazing, still playing softball at a high level. And, guys get hurt. Guys are in their 40s and 50s and, guys get hurt. And if you playing all those games, I think you can have guys more healthy, I would say, than with all the double. Because, now they got the double elimination in Westchester, the double in Berger, the double in Forest Park, the double in the Nationals. And, it just gets to be, where you can have a Forest Park tournament, run it 3 days, single elimination. And,
Donnie, what do you think about that, Donnie?
It's it's almost like it's being repetitive, right? It's like every tournament, it's going to be the same couple teams at the top, essentially, right? Because they've got 2 chances to lose, and that's
like here, perfect example. Like Jimmy said earlier, how his binge team beat the 96 and 645 team that year.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to beat them twice, that's going to be hard, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
At one time, it's doable. It happens. So I think it's more ways where teams could win as opposed to the same teams winning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we talked about getting into more single elimination tournaments, trying to essentially bring the best out of the players for that specific game. You can't miss games when it's single elimination. That's the biggest takeaway, in my opinion.
I think you can't miss games. You can't miss innings.
Yeah.
get chances to score runs, you better score those runs. If you don't, you're probably going to lose.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it just, I think the other thing, it brings urgency. We always talk about this, but people don't realize what urgency creates. It creates an atmosphere that I think players want to play in. And then those are the best players want to play in. And I think it's awesome to have going to the park knowing, to Jeff's point, if I lose, we're done. Like, and that's, hey, that creates urgency. You need to be there. It's commitment, right? One of the biggest things we talk about on the show all the time is commitment. That would change commitment. I'm not saying we got to do every tournament single elimination, but I think it'd be pretty cool to have some of the more major events, maybe single elimination, and on Saturday night bring more of an atmosphere to the park. It'd be awesome.
so here's another thing that I'll say to you. Now, how about guys who have families? It's double elimination. You're talking about, like Westchester, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You're away from your family, or your family's at the ballpark.
Yeah.
That's in May, so people get married in May, so you miss weddings, or you get in trouble for missing weddings, or things like that. So I think you make it more family friendly too, because let's say you lose on a Thursday or a Friday. Hey, you're home with your family. The wife's not as I know there's some of us, like I've been pretty lucky, and I've never taken heat about playing ball, which is it made it a lot easier to do.
Sure.
But that's another thing that people never think about is the family aspect of that.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and to our point, or what we've been talking about is if you want to really still play on a Sunday, there's a good Sunday. The Sunday leagues are becoming more and more popular now. People bring their families out, they play at the parks, and they're all with their friends and people they want to be with on Sundays. Most of the time, which it only creates the game even more. And then for the people, to your point, with families, they can hang out with their kids, their families, their boats, do whatever they want on a Sunday. It really is a good point. And I'm gonna hop in really quick and say Kevin Duff, top 5 teammate you ever had. Learn more from Jeff and Izzy than anyone else. Duff also he also said, if winning is boring, I'll take boring every day. Russ DeLute said Washington Park is the best Sunday league. Where else? Oh, Jeremy Lafrano brought up a good point. He said guys would actually stick around to watch the championship if it was single elimination.
And here's another thing. How about on Saturday night, instead of like a Sunday night after guys are at the park for 4 days, you
Right.
might have a bigger turnout for that championship game on a Saturday night too.
Right.
Like championship 7:45 or something like that. I mean, that'd be a pretty awesome. I've had some.
Donnie, I swear I didn't prep him. I swear to God I didn't prep him. I promise you.
It's okay. This is speaking from the heart.
Yes.
I more exciting games on Saturday night than the ones I won on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Sharif makes a good point. He says it's a catch-22 because some of the loser bracket late games are classics too.
Some of them are great. Yeah. It's, again, I don't, Forest Park, it's hard to, I would like to play Forest Park every weekend if I could.
Right.
Because that never gets old. However they run it, I'm still want to be a part of it. Forest Park does it right.
Yeah, they do, 100%. But we were speaking to other tournaments, not per se Forest Park, but can you imagine a Forest Park championship ending on a Saturday night? Whew, that'd be awesome. That'd be a game I want to play in.
Yeah, I mean, again, whatever happens, just I mean, when I go out there to watch now, like, and not playing, it's difficult, man, because I feel like I still, even though I haven't played for a couple of years, I feel like I still strap him up and let's go do this, right? And after watching Israel, I know I can do it because he's old as shit.
Yeah. So a couple other comments. He's mentioned that Steve Rodriguez mentioned single elimination tournament this weekend in Shorewood. Yes, Steve, I'll be there. I know that for sure. So, but no. Other than that, the one other, Donnie, do you have any other questions before I get to my last question for Jeff, and then we're gonna hand it over for questions for him?
No, yeah, this is fantastic. I haven't seen this many comments in the chat in a long time. So, if I didn't get to ask you anything else, it's because they were already answered. And so, thank you for that, and it was wonderful.
Yeah. So, Jeff, I ask every guest on the show a question about improving softball, about changing softball. And so my question to you is, I know you've been out of the game, but you're still kind of familiar with the game. You've you know what's going on. You talk to enough people that are involved in the game. If there was something right now that in softball to improve softball or just change in general to make the game better from a promoting standpoint or whatever it may be, what would that be, Jeff?
Um, I would say what I really hate now in softball is every year when the year is about to end, all these same guys jump off one team to go on another team. I really don't like that. Back when I was playing in the 80s and 90s, there was probably 8, 9 teams could win any weekend. I mean, obviously, the main teams won most of the time, and because they were the best teams. But the other teams still had plenty of chances to win. In the last couple of years, I came into the game at a great time. I came into the game when the older guys were starting to go out. So I came in this game, believe it or not, at the perfect time. And now this time is here again. These young guys are here. It's young guy time now. It's not old guy time no more. So it's
Right.
and I looked at a team. I think it was like Matt Doze's team last year, and they got like Matt's son, and I seen Petey Range's son, and they had a couple of these young guys on that team. And I don't know, those guys should stay together. They will kill this in 3 years. They would be the best team. No one would beat them. But instead, they all go to these other teams. And I always told these young guys, those old guys need you. You do not need them.
Right.
Wish I would see more young teams like your binge team, like I told you before, stay together. Stay together. Put them young guys together, and may take you 2 or 3 years, might take you 4 years. But when you do, when all that time that you spent with those guys and built up that team, it's more rewarding than going to win it on the 45s or on another team like that.
Isn't that right, Donnie?
I'll tell you what, our signature team got a lot younger this offseason, right? We added some young studs, is what I'll say.
Well,
Dude, he set that up perfectly for you.
Oh.
He put it on a tee, and it's just like, hold on, Berger, let me swing really quick.
Thank you, Jeff. You didn't know that, but you did.
well, it's just like for me, that's one of the things, and just I see more commitment by these young guys nowadays. And the biggest thing I hate is everybody's a goddamn dump hitter now. Smash the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Open up the gaps, and you'll never see teams shut you out. Like I never get shut out. I played a million games. I never got shut out. Hit the bar, never shut out at the bar. Maybe
Richie Hennessy shut you out in a game of Hold'em, but that's about it. So, Jeff, what questions do you have for Donnie and I? I know guests always have questions. Might be one question, might be 5 questions, but now's your time to ask. Anything.
How long
on mind.
have you guys been doing this?
Donnie, you want to go ahead and answer that?
Yeah. How long have we been doing this? Yeah. This is the 35th episode of this show. We started one night at McGaffers in Forest Park, and after Jimmy and I had played against each other, which we had won, and we were feeling good.
We had 9 guys, Jeff.
Yeah, you had 11. We were feeling pretty good at the bar, and we decided to go live on Facebook one night, and it took off. And now, was that October last year? Maybe a little bit earlier in the year last year?
Yeah, I mean, so Jeff, another point to it too is we were at McGaffers. Obviously, we had some beers, but we were kind of laughing a little bit about some of previous shows or some other thing that we saw. I don't even think it was a show. I think it was just
we're just like talking
a highlight thing or something.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, come on with this. We were laughing about it because it was so ridiculous. And one of the things that I told Donnie is like, Donnie, you know what, dude? We could change the way softball's looked at from a 16-inch standpoint of promoting the game, making the game bigger. You know what I mean? We can use social media to our advantage and get across to people, not just in Illinois, not just in Iowa, because those are the 2 main states, but really grow it outside of Iowa and Illinois. And I think our main focus, even when we were drunk at 1 a.m. at McGaffers, was to really kind of bring some fun to what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But we enjoy what we do, so it's not like we're going out of our way to do it. And at the same time, promote the game that we both love. And I think that's why we started this. And, our first, I'd say 15 shows was just kind of me at the park or Donnie at the park talking to players and things like that. And then when winter hit, we kind of got the software going, and we've got all new stuff and kind of make it look a lot better, a more professional. Before you hopped on, we've had professional baseball players on. We've had professional softball players on. We've had some players, things like that. We brought in some girls from a 12-inch world. We brought in other people from San Diego. We've had people on from Mexico. We've had people on from Arizona. So we're really trying to expand and grow the game. So that is the real reason why we do this. And now we kind of enjoy it. I think, to Donnie's point, a lot of people, I get a ton of texts, Donnie gets a ton of texts, and they wait for Tuesday nights. And it's cool to see, but at the same time, I think we're getting our point across. Every week we're growing more and more. And I think that's the cool thing, is everyone benefits from this, not just Donnie and I, the whole game as a whole. And pretty soon, you and I both know, Jeff, I mean, I'm near the end of my career, and with my kids and stuff, once they start playing travel baseball, it's game over for me. So this is a way to continue to grow the game as I'm going out the door, and help Donnie and the newer kids, come in and continue the game going, because I've seen it really drop off in the last 10, 15 years from the standpoint of where it was when I started. And it's something that we feel we can do to change it and get it back into the grade schools and get it back into the high schools. And, they're doing a lot of good things currently, but we can make it better. And that's our main goal.
Well, what you're doing here is pretty cool. And it's kind of, you remember like when Tim Maher had the radio show back in the day?
Yeah, I kind of do remember that. Yeah.
This is a good thing. Now, a couple ideas for you. Why don't you do it at a bar like Jeremy Lafrano's bar or one of the Lawler's bars, and do this? You get a turnout. It'd be kind of fun. And then do like one tournament, like a Papa Hops, but for your guys.
Right.
You talk about growing the game. That Pop, coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That is really.
It's funny you say that. We do have some great ideas for the summer. We're talking about doing in-game interviews. We're talking about doing sideline interviews. Me mic'd up while I play a game.
Yeah.
Which would be entertaining. But to your point, doing the Papa Hops and doing some other events. I know we were invited to go to Knoxville, Tennessee for the 12 major. They want us to come down there, which is, hey, 12-inch is still part of softball.
Yeah.
I know I always talk about the story that you took me out to Joliet. We played that tournament in Joliet, the 12-inch.
Yeah.
20 years old. I'll never forget that. Never played it again. And but either way, we do a good job of that. And to your point, I mean, those are great ideas, right? And to get to bars, especially when I open this next one, we're talking about doing some shows out of there. And then when, to your point, Jeremy and Ricky, and we have some other people that we can definitely do a show live. And I think it'd be cool.
How cool would the Beacon be to have it at the Beacon?
Well, right. And we need to get I know Kevin Duff has already reached out saying that he would buy us some of the equipment for us to do that. So Donnie and I really got to sit down now that we're getting close to the end of winter, and reach out to some of the people that have reached out to me to sponsor that stuff. And we can buy the equipment and kind of get the mics and a lot of the stuff that we need to have a live show. And, it's probably $1,000 or so of stuff, but either way, as time goes on, it only grows, to your point. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's a good idea. But I think like a cool tournament like the Uncle Jimmy,
Cousin Donnie,
like the Classic or something, we'll name it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. We could, that's something that we could definitely do. I run that Dana Strong tournament every year for the family.
Yeah.
That's continuing to grow over year. We had the most people ever last year. We probably had over 200, 300 people watching the championship game. I think it was the most drinks, food we ever sold. So it was absolutely incredible. All the money got completely donated back, to the family. So it was, and they do a great job of picking a new family every single year to donate the money to in Dana's name. So it's an awesome cause and an awesome thing. But yeah, I mean, it's something, Donnie, that, you and I could definitely talk about. And I know we're going to be meeting with little Mickey soon. So
yeah, we've got some really cool things in the works. And using the platform to kind of grow it. And then, with all the guests and everything, just, making sure we get some really familiar faces on our show. That's a huge part of it. I know someone in the comments said it took you 35 shows to get Jeff on, but we had to build it up first. You can't bring Kim Kardashian on the first show.
Right.
You finally got enough money to pay me to come out. So.
Yeah.
Well, that too. This is going to cost me several steak dinners, so you know. And probably a couple rounds of golf too, which is fine because I got to learn how to hit an iron shot from him. Anyways, he's incredible with his irons.
That's good.
That part we could teach you. That's my favorite thing.
Come on, golf's easier than softball.
It is.
By the way, Jeff, Donnie's a very good golfer.
I see if Donnie got any money and we can try that out.
Hey, Donnie, what'd you shoot last week at Cog Hill when you went?
68.
You
Only
beat
played
68,
nine?
Jeff?
What's that?
You only played 9?
I played 9. The back 9, it was too cold for the back 9.
He shot from the women's tees.
Yeah.
You only played 9. So, Donnie works. Donnie, why don't you tell Jeff who you work
Yeah.
for?
I work for a company called PXG. We custom fit golf clubs.
All right, come on.
So
Sitting there.
yeah, come by and see me. I'll have you in there whenever you'd like.
Perfect.
So this will be your payment for coming on the show.
Perfect.
It's a free club fitting.
I won't be far behind him.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll get anybody in there. Anybody that wants to come through from softball is always welcome in there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely come by.
For sure.
Yep. For sure.
All right, Jeff. Any other questions for Donnie or I?
No, just I really, like you said, keep it going. I would like to see you guys maybe run a tournament. I'll be part of it if you guys want umpire help, running it help, or whatever. I'd be happy to help out. I do miss being around the game and being around some of the guys and stuff like that. So what you guys are doing is a great thing, and keep having some more cool guests down here because I'll actually watch some of them. No, seriously. I mean, like you had Bobby Jr. on, and you had Wes, both interesting guys, and keep making sure you're guests. And I think you could have like Rich. I'm going to talk to Rich Melman tomorrow and just say, hey, I went on here and stuff like that, and maybe I'll go or I'll get on with him a little bit, and because I think
Absolutely.
But he'd be a nice. And you talk about picking somebody's brain on how to grow. Yeah. It'd be a good guy to pick his brain on that too.
For sure.
Yeah, and you gave me his number. I talked to him offline. We chatted, and he was awesome. I mean, he flat out said it. He would love to do it. It's just he wanted to come on with somebody, and I get it.
I think he's where he ain't been around the game for quite some time, and what you would ask of him. But I think your questions about like how did you get all that off the ground, because that was amazing what he did do with the TV league and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I would agree. Can't agree.
He'd be a good guy to pick his brain.
For sure. Absolutely. No, we definitely do that. And just before you go, next week we have the Hall of Fame ballot, and we're going to do our roundtable. What do you think about that idea?
I love that. Yeah, give guys a chance. I voted today. Believe it or not, I voted today. And, everybody should vote. And can I say this before? You young guys in there, get involved in this Hall of Fame. Nate, Duff, all you guys that are great, hopefully to be in there one day. Get involved with this stuff.
Yeah.
Really a great thing. When your night comes, believe it or not, it might not seem that cool to you, but when your night comes, it's a pretty amazing thing. And to be mentioned with those kind of players and those kind of teams is a humbling experience. Very humbling for me.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. So definitely something. And I know it's something that I wanted to be a part of our show too. And then Paul Rowan's been incredible with me as well. He's reached out several times, whatever we need. Same thing with Al Maggs. He wants to give his book away for all our guests. Donnie, we haven't had any guests on the show, so we got to get some A people on the show.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we'll definitely get some more people on there.
Have Al Mag on there. He could talk about that book. That's a pretty amazing thing he wrote too.
Yeah. So he's on our list. I'm going to Arizona next month to play in his tournament.
Yeah.
So he wants us to, I don't know if Donnie's going to be there, but he wants us to go live, and I'm going to do that from Arizona with Donnie. So we're going to use this system out there, and I think it'll be pretty cool. And hopefully, Donnie, it'll be a way where I can get the earplugs in, and you can watch. I'll be in the game talking to you while we're doing a show.
That's exciting, man. I mean, we've talked about it for a while. We tried it once. It was all right. It was
Mhm.
interesting, but now we've got some more support from a couple of great people, so we can definitely make some progress on that.
Yep. So, well, Jeff, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, and
Be-
I'll look
be-
forward to hearing from you very soon.
Before I cut off here, I just want to say real fast, Frankie, Vioni, Stan Paddock, I miss you guys every day. I love you guys, man. And life's not the same without you guys here. So uh,
Yep.
keep them guys
Yeah,
in your hearts and their family in your hearts, if you would.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. You have a great night. Thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
So that's a legend right there, huh?
How about the audience that Jeff brings?
Yeah, he
Just
brought it.
like just brought the fire. I mean, someone we could talk to for a longer time than that, probably. Get
Well,
into
I
like,
mean, it was the reason why we only had one guest tonight,
yeah,
right? I
exactly.
had a lot on the agenda. I know you had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
You know, it was awesome, right, to see a lot
Yep.
of the things he had to say, just because he was a part of the '90s, the '80s, the early 2000s, and it's just cool to have someone like that, really give us the insight on how some of those individuals were, because he lived it.
Yep.
So
Yep. We always talk about like back in the day, right? But like that was it. That was the height of it. That was the heart of it. So very, very fun to talk to him about softball, and
yep.
just kind of to pick his brain about what, these younger guys can do to get better. And I wish I could talk to him every day about softball. I'm motivated. I want to play a softball game right now.
Yeah.
It gets you juiced to be a part of the game. Truly.
Yeah, no, and like I was saying, it's just like I've fortunate enough to know Jeff my whole life.
Yeah.
Jeff knows the competitor that I am, but a lot of that, and I didn't get a chance to tell him, but growing up, he was kind of like a mentor to me, and he was somebody even in softball, even when I won my first Forest Park, he was there saying like you can't lose, right? And we didn't, but he was telling me, he was on the sideline telling me, you cannot lose because you don't know if you'll ever get back to this moment, just because of the fact that I mean, I always,
That's good advice.
yeah, and we didn't lose, which was awesome, right? And then I was able to win it with our OBI, like it made it even more special. Like it was just all my buddies, friends, and to Jeff's point earlier tonight, he made a comment about how the younger guys should stick together. Um, that OBI team, that first team that was all my buddies, that was majority of the people we actually were talking to or hanging out with at that time, which I
Yep.
thought made more special.
Yeah, it's kind of your group of your core friends.
Right.
He talks about Stan Paddock too. And we've got some really great comments from Pops and Mark Manizzi talking about how much those guys kind of meant to them. He brings that aspect too. It's remembering the individuals that kind of made the game how it is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And one of the other things I want to bring up too about what Jeff said, the umpiring. All right. And I wanted to bring up because I thought he had a good point to this. And his point is that if you don't respect the umpires, how are they supposed to respect you or vice versa? Right.
Yeah.
So, take out the training, take out the spots and a lot of things that they do. But if they don't respect you and you don't respect them, you're not gonna. There's no upside.
Yeah. True. You don't want
So
a bad reputation as a player. Like you don't want a bad reputation as an umpire because then you lose the respect on both sides, I think. So, being respectful to the umpires before the games, even during the games, asking questions, don't make it where you're trying to one up somebody is
right.
huge. So, and then as a player, as soon as you're known as a jerk by an umpire, you automatically are at a disadvantage.
So, do you want to do something like what he said? That's a good idea, right? We have the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie Classic.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
What I was thinking is we could do it in end of September.
And we can have some big time teams there.
Well, that would be cool. And then I would want, because my real goal is to have the top 12 teams in softball, and then the top 12 Park League champions.
I like that.
You know what I mean? Not to say in the same bracket, but maybe do 16 and 12 or 16 and 16,
Yeah.
And you do a single elimination tournament for that day with both sides playing at the same time. And then the championship games would be one after another.
The two teams playing against each other. That's a good idea. I think it's a fun idea.
Yeah.
Danny said tonight's show has more hits than your dance video. I don't know. That's a tough one to beat. That's good competition.
Yeah, it's true. What did we get a notification? We were 4% or something?
It was like this video reached an insane amount of people. Is what it was.
We were top 4% or something like that.
Yeah, in engagement.
Yeah. So I don't know, Danny. I don't know if we like that comment, my man. I think, hey, you know what? His $50 that we're gonna pay him for the next 9-inning game, he's now doing it for free after that.
It's now 25.
No, free. That's it.
Danny would do it for free.
Yeah, he doesn't cut down the man. So before we let everyone go, all right.
Yeah.
Obviously we got the tournament Saturday. I've already talked about that at GoPro. But we also play a week from Wednesday, and I know we have next week's show, but I really want to focus in on the Hall of Fame next week.
For sure.
We're going to have 8 guests on. Next week's show is going to be crazy, probably long, and a lot of stuff going on, talking about the Hall of Fame, people's careers, all that stuff. We have to prep those guys for next week, and we will do that. So I want that night to be focused strictly on them, right? So I'm going to bring this up now. So our game next Wednesday, what are we playing for?
Let's play. You know what? The dance was a hit. Truly. I mean, the dance was popular. I mean, I know you said you'd never do it again. Well,
that means I would never do it again, because that means
you'd have to win.
We will win, but yeah, you know
right.
what I mean.
Jeff Berger would say you can't lose. So maybe another dance. What do you think? I mean, it's not super original, but it seems to get views.
All those haters out there calling me out on the dance skills, I would love to see them dance.
Right.
Pops' ass ain't getting out there and dance.
I don't know. Maybe Pops got some moves.
Yeah. Well.
Maybe another TikTok dance video. Why don't we do this? Here's an idea.
Survey.
Put it in the comments. What?
We'll post a survey on our page and let people vote.
Okay. I like that. All right. We'll put a couple options. We'll let people vote on what they think you should do next week.
Oh, look at you. I'm gonna actually minute 142. So hour 142.
39
Donnie
seconds.
Talking smack. That's gonna be played at a hex.
Dude, I'm telling you, Jeff Berger's got me motivated to play softball.
Oh, really?
Yes. That guy's got me juiced.
All right, my man.
So we'll put a survey out there on the group.
Well, I was thinking, and this would be the survey. We'll say another dance video.
Yeah.
Probably I don't know. You have to wear something on your forehead, considering I had to do that once.
That's good. Tough.
I don't want to do that again. Well, I guess we could do that again. That was pretty good.
Tattoo.
We're not getting. I love you, but I ain't doing that. Or I would say maybe I don't know. I mean, what else can we do? What are some cool ideas?
We'll field some. I want to maybe someone will have a great idea in the comments. Something that's funny, clean. Please, no nudity on the show.
Yeah.
But if we could field some comments and maybe get some ideas from the individuals, those are the people that are going to watch it. Peter, I can't shave my head. This is a work in progress right here. I've been growing this hair out for a while.
I would do that, but I work in the sales world, and so we come up with some cool ideas, I think, and we'll run with it from there. I know. Before we go, why don't we thank a lot of our guests for tonight? Absolutely. Obviously, thank the Beacon Tap for sponsoring us. I definitely appreciate that more than ever. I know we've had a bunch of people jump on the show. I think we've done a pretty good job of reaching out. I know we had some late stragglers just jump on now. So, guys, please go back and loser has to play with Mudville. That would be hysterical.
That's funny. Preston.
How about this? Loser would have to wear a Mudville jersey.
Ooh. I would have to ask a certain individual for a Mudville shirt.
We'll just call Gio and ask him.
That's exactly who I'm referring to.
Yeah. Gio would do it.
I'm sure Gio would reply to my text message right now about him giving me a Mudville shirt.
I'm sure he would. The other individual that eventually I'd like to have on our show too is Anthony Tyler, which if he's on next week with the Hall of Fame, I'd also like to have him on individually. So
yeah,
he's on the radar too.
Yeah. We got some guys. I was thinking of some really good guests tonight. Just people that comment on our show a lot, like Lane Neiman. I would love to talk to Coach Lane Neiman. I mean, I played for him last year. He was unbelievable. Scotty Herdecki, another guy I would like to have on the show. So there's a lot of guys we want to get on the show.
We got to try to get Zoe on the show too. That's
Yeah.
another bar. You know, Berger brought up a good point. We can go to bars. A lot of people in softball own bars, right?
Yeah.
You think about it. I mean, just off the top of my head, you got Zoe's family. Him and his dad owned that bar. You got Jeremy. You know, he's part of the bar. You got Shane Lawler, part owner of, owns Lawler's.
Yep.
You got, obviously we'll be doing a lot of things at my bar, right? We got
Artie.
We got Ricky Gankars, right? We got Artie from Circus. We have a handful of people, and I'm sure there's a lot more out there that we don't even know that have owners. I know Marchese was part owners, or family has part owners in restaurants and things like that. I'm sure, Bobby and the Russ family, they do. So, there's a ton of people. There you go. Coach Jimmy Nelson would be a great guest. William Weatherspoon as well. Yeah, no, absolutely. Walker Sharif, we'll definitely talk to you this week offline. We'd love to get a nice list of the individuals, like we told Wes last week or 2 weeks ago, about getting more of the Washington Park people on as well. Just got to get more familiar with what they're doing out there. And they do an incredible Sunday league as well. They've been running that for years. So that's a great point. So thank you. And we look forward to obviously speaking to you this week. Donnie, episode 35 was a slice, brother. It was awesome.
Yes, sir. Good time, my man. And, appreciate everybody for watching. Like I said, when we're thanking Jeff on the way out, we haven't seen this many comments in a long time. So we appreciate everybody for watching. With me, it's been awesome. Appreciate you guys very much for just kind of sticking with us every week and looking forward to the show. Randy Nelson says, woo from Steel Gold. Sharif, appreciate you very much for the positive comments. We got a lot of people coming on this show in the future. So be ready for every week, fresh, cool content from us. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yes, for sure. Thank you, guys. Donnie, enjoy.